What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch, and we're going back into the trading mode today to explain more about McCree's aim. Yes, new developments have surfaced. Some of you may have already have known this, but asking around my friends and our Discord server, this doesn't seem to be a well-known fact, so I thought it was important to cover today. Now, we're going to be discussing not only how to create zero recoil on your McCree aim, but also go a little bit more in depth with the effects of having recoil aim compensation on or off, which is of course a setting that's going to be coming out in the next patch. It's on the PTR right now. Now, first things first, standard vanilla recoil bobbles up to a certain spot and then resets down. No compensation added whatsoever. The setting is just normal, how it is in the live game, and if you have recoil aim compensation on. However, there's a technique that you can do that if you quickly almost micro flick downward as McCree fires his weapon, you can stop this visual recoil. By doing this technique, I'm able to stop my crosshair from bobbling up above the line that I'm shooting at. And as well, as we look over to this bot out in the distance, you can imagine this is like a roadhog's head or something. Normally when I shoot here, my crosshair bobbles above the board behind the bot, above that orange line. But by quickly micro flicking downward in order to compensate for the recoil, I can get the crosshair to stay where I want it. Now for an extra layer of craziness on top of this, just so you fully understand what's going on here, no matter what, within the game data, there is a frame where the crosshair is shooting up to the recoil spot. But if you do it fast enough, it's possible for it to look like it's not moving. I put it in slow motion right here. Even these shots that I compensate quite well do technically go up to the top. But if you do it so fast, it minimizes it to such a small frame that you might not even have noticed it beforehand. But as we move our mouse in this recoil compensation zone, while the crosshair is kicking wildly like a gunslinger, the effect of what we're doing here is counteracting that so fast that it resets our crosshair so fast that we're able to utilize it again sooner than we otherwise would have. What do I mean by utilize? Well, if you have a crosshair, you can aim up your next shot easier. Whereas your crosshair is floating out in no man's land, above your target, recoiling, you sort of have to guess where it's going to come back. Now, the thing about this technique is, you're going to get varied results based upon your skill. That's one of the most exciting things about this because it's very similar to how CSGO recoil compensation works. And it's a technique that I think every single player who's ever even thought about picking McCree should know about. And it doesn't seem like everybody does. So first and foremost, we want to put this skill into our toolkit when we talk about McCree. And now following up from this, we're going to discuss the differences of having recoil aim compensation on or off, and how it helps us or hinders us from doing this technique. Now, the entire genesis of this setting even being a thing revolved around the complaint about it being enabled, meaning that if you put in a small amount of downward input into your mouse during the recoil, it would have zero effect whatsoever. Unless you surpass an input threshold, you will get zero output onto the screen. However, that's simply just the downside of having this effect. After reviewing everything in today's video, you'll have to decide whether or not avoiding this problem is worth it for you once we compare it to its benefits. So now when we turn recoil compensation off, we're able to slowly drag down during the recoil, and because it gives us a one-to-one input to the crosshair all the time, we're able to drag down the crosshair where we otherwise wouldn't. Aha, but sometimes you don't even want to do that. As we said in our original videos, it isn't necessarily that I want to be able to shoot something that's below my crosshair. It's more so that the vast majority of FPS players want a one-to-one input from their mouse so they directly can develop the muscle memory to control it completely. You don't want training wheels on, even if they could theoretically help you, most of the time. Now, the complicated thing about this section of this idea is that whether this setting is on or off essentially changes how your mouse input interacts with your crosshair during the recoil phase. Very complicated, I know. So there's like the normal aiming around, that's just normal. No shooting, you can aim wherever you want, freely. But during the recoil, if the setting is off, you can freely drag it down as much as you want, one-to-one, even if it causes you to make an aiming mistake, and that's key. But if you turn the recoil compensation on, there's sort of a buffer zone. A safety net, if you will, at the bottom point of your recoil pull down. The recoil aim compensation allows for you to more freely do that quick anti-recoil pull down, but doesn't allow you to do it too much so that you accidentally pull down too far. It sort of recognizes that, oh, this player is compensating for the recoil in this moment during the bobble of McCree's weapon, and sort of slows you down so you don't accidentally overcompensate too much. How do I know this? Well, and here's the kicker, I was able to fully replicate this anti-recoil aim technique with the setting turned off. But the one major difference is it's slightly harder to do because you can start to feel that this safety net that the setting on puts in for you is now off, meaning that if I accidentally pull down too far, well, the crosshair is just going there, baby. You wanted all your control, your Overwatch, you got it. Now you better learn how to actually control that crosshair, because if you pull down too much, then you're gonna be aiming below your target. So during the recoil animation, you actually can overcompensate way easier with the setting turned off. But it stands to reason that if you have good enough mouse control, then you can get the benefits of this aiming technique without the downsides of the training wheels of the setting being on, because there is small downsides to it, which in effect is going to be in your muscle memory, because you're getting a sliding scale of input that changes based upon the timings of your shots and when you put the input in. Whereas you can develop a more pure one-to-one input if you take that setting off. Guys, it's been a crazy in-depth video. I don't think it can possibly get more nerdy than this. We're sitting here talking about crosshair bobs, and I couldn't be happier. If the video helped you guys out, please hit the like button. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you join the notification squad so you get notified when our videos go live. Don't miss a Your Overwatch video. Link in the description is all sorts of stuff, including our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and give opinions about the game of Overwatch. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.